Hello folks, Chris here with Pedal with Power, and as you can see behind me I have the Lectric 2.0 and the Lectric 3.0, and in this video I'm going to go over all the differences between them, what's been changed, how they've upgraded it, and whether I think it's a good upgrade or a bad upgrade. Hint, most of them are actually really good. So I'll be doing a side-by-side comparison of both bikes and show you all the differences. Let's go. So first we'll just start off at the front of the bikes. And one of the big changes that they made is in the fork. So on the right here we have the 3.0, on the left we have the 2.0, and the 2.0 fork has 40 millimeters of travel, and the new fork here has 50 millimeters of travel. So they've increased the range of the fork, and what the travel is on the fork is how far this can compress. So the more travel it has, the more compression that it has. 50 is obviously, a solid 20% more than 40. So that's definitely a good thing. It also is a little bit kind of darker black, but I've had this the 2.0 for a while now, so it might have faded a little. But this one definitely just kind of looks a little blacker. And they've also changed the lockout knob. Definitely has a bit more of a solid click to it. You can see that. I don't know if you can hear it clicking, but that one clicks in. This one just kind of wiggled a little bit more. So definitely a nice improvement there. And while we're on the front of the bike, the tires themselves are exactly the same. So this is the 2.0 tire, and you can see that there. This is the 3.0 tire. This is exactly the same. Not a bad tire, it does the job. But one thing I'm going to do on this new 3.0 is I did get these CST smoother tires. You can see these guys right here. So I'm going to put these on this new one, and I'll show you guys how to install the new tires if you decide you want that. I just kind of wanted to try out this smoother profile. So I'll leave a link in the description below to where you can get these. They're not super expensive, but I'm just going to try out some smoother tires because I've already put a lot of miles on this tire. And another big difference that some of you with a keen eye will notice is this front light looks a little different than that front light. So with the new Lectrics, they have a bunch of different packages you can get right now for Black Friday. So I got the one that is the long range, and it has the comfort package, which also comes with this big giant upgraded light. So you can see how much different it is from the original light. So I'm going to do a video testing these guys out and comparing them side by side. That way you can see, if the headlight is something that you want. It's definitely gigantor, so it's pretty sweet. But I have yet to actually test it at night. It's been pretty cold and frosty here at night. Another thing you'll notice as we're going down is the wrap on the 2.0 is kind of just this flimsier sort of plastic. And they definitely made it, it's still kind of a flimsy plastic, but they made it a lot nicer on the 3.0. So it just looks a lot cleaner in the front. That's definitely nice. This stuff does the trick. It's still working. This bike's got quite a few miles on it now. This one's pretty much brand new. Another change that they made was in the grips. So these right here are the original 2.0 grips. And then these are the new 3.0 grips. They're a bit firmer of a rubber. They feel a little better on your hands. These kind of had this, the 2.0 had these kind of like little grooves that over time would get a little irritating. Definitely not a deal breaker, but I do like these stock grips a lot better. The display itself hasn't changed at all. You can see this is the 2.0 display. This is the 3.0 display. It's the exact same display, exact same controls here. Those haven't changed at all. No big differences there. Another change that they made was in the brakes themselves. So this is the 2.0 brake lever, and this is the 3.0 brake lever. It's not a huge difference, but it has a little bit better feel than the 2.0 one does. So that's a nice little upgrade. As far as the brakes themselves, if we head down here, so this is the brake on the 3.0, and this is the brake on the 2.0. The 2.0s have these kind of basic Tektros. This one is definitely a little bit nicer. It kind of seems just like it's a non-branded. It's not really a huge difference, but it does look like a slightly nicer brake. I'm going to be changing these out to the cable pull hydraulics though, and I'll have a video up on how to do that. But one big improvement that they made was that they did put bigger rotors. So this here on the 3.0, they now come with 180 mil rotors. And then on the 2.0, these came with 160 mil rotors. And coming back over here to the 3.0, so what a bigger rotor does is it allows the brake caliper to grab it further out. So it allows a little bit more braking torque on this bigger rotor. So bigger rotors give you more braking power. I guess that's the short way to put it. And we like to pedal with power here, so more braking power is good. So moving on, looking at these from the top down, so this is the 2.0, and you can see the latch is silver, and it has these kind of colored stripes here. And then if I move over to the 3.0, the latch is now black, which is definitely cooler, and it has a little bit more color over the top here, which I kind of like. So again, here's the 2.0. And then in the back, we have the 3.0. So here, pulling back, you can kind of see them side by side. Little bit of changes. There's just more aesthetic than anything else, but I do like the black latch of the 3.0 and the colors on the top. Just kind of bring it out a little bit more. And one thing I did notice when they're really close, kind of side by side, I'm not sure if maybe the 2.0 here faded a little, but it definitely seems like the black on the 3.0 is a little darker, a little richer black than the 2.0. This one it's a little bit softer. Not really a big difference, but it's noticeable when both these bikes are side by side. So again, this one in the front is the 2.0 and the one in the back here is the 3.0. Another change you'll see if you are familiar with the 2.0 over here is the 3.0, the pedals are a little bit longer, a little bit nicer. They seem to push in so that you can fold them a little bit better. So they did make these ones, this could just be for me riding them a bunch, but the pedals on the 2.0 are a little finicky to fold, especially with one hand, where the new 3.0 pedals just seemed like they kind of snap into place a little better. Some of that could just be because they're new, but they're definitely different pedals. So they did change the pedals. I kind of like the new 3.0 pedals better. And those of you that have been watching closely, you probably see a big difference in the saddles. So this is the original saddle that came on the 2.0 and the original seat post. On the 3.0 in the background here, this one came with the comfort package. So this is the suspension seat post. If I can do this one-handed, there you go. So this actually goes up and down a little bit, and then it comes with a much bigger seat. And I'm gonna try out this seat. It definitely looks a lot nicer than this one. Unfortunately, I've heard a lot of people that have issues with the springs in the back here popping out, and I'm a pretty big guy. And I've had that issue over the decades of selling bikes. These springs don't always want to sit great in here. One thing on the original one, it just had these rubber elastomers in there, which definitely don't work as well, but they don't pop out. Either way, I'm still going to be upgrading to my favorite seat here. This is the Cell Royale Drifter. And you can see the springs on the bottom of this guy, they're reinforced so the springs don't pop out. And just the seat itself, if I set it down, is just way cushier. It's kind of a big gel seat as opposed to harder foam seats. And then this original electric seat, which is just not very good at all. The comfort seat definitely looks better than the original seat, but neither one of those seats are a Cell Royale Drifter. It also has these cool little metal things in the back, which just look awesome. And it even has a tiny little hint of blue right there, you can see. So kind of matches, but that's just my favorite cruiser seat. And when I got the new 3.0, Lectric emailed me a cheat sheet that has all these differences that I'm kind of walking through, and a couple others that I've just found, like the latches and some other, more aesthetic things. One thing they did mention on the cheat sheet was down under here, this is where the key goes, and on the 2.0, the key has to stay in the bike to make it work. And they're telling me that the 3.0, that you can pull the keys out. However, I got the long range battery, And on the long range battery, the keys still go in the same spot, but it doesn't seem like I can pull them out and turn the bike on, which is not really a deal breaker for me. I don't really care that the key's down there. It was a little weird when I first got it, just because most bikes you don't leave the key in, and it's just way down under here underneath the bike. Once you get used to it, it's no big deal. I usually just leave the key in the whole time, but you can turn it part way and take it out, and the battery stays in, but it's locked in. And then when you turn it and click it over, now you can turn the bike on. And this is the 3.0 here. It's the exact same. If you just turn it a little ways and pull the key out, the battery stays locked into the bike, but you do have to turn it into the on position in order to actually turn the bike on. And so now over here on the back of the bike, we'll start at the bottom. This is the 2.0 and it's still running the tourney. I do have a video of showing how to upgrade this. And then this, I put the original 14 to 28 freewheel on. And those numbers are how many teeth the smallest ring has and how many teeth the biggest ring has. And that was a big issue on the 2.0, is this 14 tooth, which is your highest gear. Doesn't allow you to pedal a whole lot past 20, but this bike can go to 28. And on the 3.0, it can still do the 28, but it comes stock with the 11/28 7-speed freewheel. So now this already has the high range gears. So we can switch this out if we want better climbing gears and make this bigger one even bigger, but it already has the higher gears. So this is gonna pedal up to 28 a lot easier. Still at full 28, you're pedaling pretty fast, but it definitely helps a lot. Still came with the basic Shimano tourney rear derailleur, so that's gonna go. I'm gonna install the Acera derailleur on here. But having this new freewheel, that was good to just have that come out of the box. And while we're down here on the back end, so this is the original 2.0 hub motor, and this is the new 3.0 hub motor. And in my paperwork, they're telling me that this original 2.0 hub motor that's over here on the right, this was putting out about 35 Newton meters of torque. This new one over here is supposed to put out 55 Newton meters of torque. They're still both 500 watts. So the wattage hasn't changed on the new 3.0, but the overall power and torque that it can do has increased dramatically. And I'm gonna put that to the test and see how much better it is, but that's pretty significant. So what the extra torque will allow is it's gonna allow you to get up to speed faster, and it should help a whole lot with climbing hills. Should make hills just a lot easier in the lower gear, or allow you to actually climb hills a bit faster in some of the higher gears with some extra pedaling. And then probably saving the biggest change for last is over here on the 2.0, it came with this bolt-on rack, which is a pretty solid rack, but it wasn't designed to hold a whole lot of weight. And then over here on the new 3.0, and you can tell it's a 3.0 because it says XP 3.0 right there. This one has, the whole rack is now part of the frame. So it's actually welded in. So that's a major upgrade. What that's gonna allow is this can now support up to 150 pounds. So it's still gonna have all the 4-bolt attachments that the original one does. Over here, you can see the bolts. They still got the bolts on the top. So that's gonna be for baskets and bags and other things. But they will be offering a passenger setup that's gonna have an extra seat, a little handlebar that you can put behind your seat, and some foot pegs. I don't really ride with passengers on my bikes. It's not really a thing for me, but I know a lot of people do. But just keep in mind, if you're riding with a passenger, make sure you guys are both wearing helmets. It seems like a no-brainer, but if you get into a crash without a helmet on, it's gonna really be a no-brainer. So for a lot of you folks out there, this new rear rack setup and being able to run with passengers, you can still hook in one of the Yup child seats to it and clip on all your favorite bags and attachments and whatnot. That's a biggie. Definitely a huge improvement over this original one here, the 2.0. 3.0 rack is pretty sweet. It also kind of has the same matching black paint that comes on it. So it's just a really good looking setup. Still has a nice tail light in the back. So nothing's really changed there. The fenders are pretty much exactly the same. The tail light looks like it's the exact same, so no big change there. But that rear rack is pretty awesome. And then the final change that was made on the new 3.0 is the controller itself, which is inside the bike. So there's no good way for me to show you that. That went from an 18 amp to a 20 amp. So it's a little bit more powerful controller, just allows a bit more power to go to the motor. So I will have many videos testing out the motor power, the climbing ability, how far this long range one will go with just the throttle, and how far it'll go with pedal assist. We'll be testing out the light. I'll show you the new tires, the whole works. And of course, oh, one other thing, ADD, squirrel. The tires came with slime already put in them, in the tubes. So that's a good thing. I'm still gonna put the Tannis Armor in the 3.0 just because I like it for peace of mind. Nothing stops every flat, but the more stuff you can do, the better. So slime and Tannis Armor sounds good to me. Big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, I really appreciate you watching this video on my side-by-side comparison of the Lectric 2.0 and the Lectric 3.0. I have a whole bunch of videos on the 2.0 right here. If you're interested in this bike, there are some really good Black Friday deals going on at Lectric right now, and I will leave links in the description below to all of those. And if you're interested in the new 3.0, this comes in a number of different packages. I'm gonna go over whether or not the long range is really worth it or not. I have a feeling that it will be. So stay tuned. And to all the people that have subscribed, really appreciate it. I'm gonna keep trying to put out as many videos as I can, and I will see you on the next one.